It wasn't just a feeling of being simply strong. Even while fighting me, it was getting stronger and more skillful as time went on. I was able to win not because I was stronger, but because I used a kind of trick to overpower it before it could catch up. It's only been a week since then. Honestly, if I fight again now, there's a 99.99% chance I'd lose. I don't know the abilities or strengths of the two people who came to the Dragon Palace, but it's safe to assume that they are at least as strong as the dark spirits I fought. Well, there's no need to confront such dangerous guys, right? It's better to take this as an opportunity to leave the Dragon Palace safely. Withdraw for now and prepare for the next time. When it comes to dark spirits, that's not a story that applies. We don't know how many dark spirits there are, or when the next opportunity will be. But what's certain is, if we're late, a situation no one can handle will arise. On the contrary, it might be a good opportunity. If the Dragon Palace is a closed place, there won't be any interference to protect them this time. It's a chance to definitely eliminate the two of them. Everything you said is correct. But why now? Why now, when I might have been able to change that guy? Sorry, Yushin. I understand what you had in mind when you gave me the mask and brought me here. And maybe, there's a possibility that what you were trying to do for me has worked. Righteous energy. It would be a lie to say that Saiwa didn't feel an attraction to the pure human power, not as a yokai. That attraction expanded into hope and expectation today. Even though he didn't use any yokai power, he single-handedly fought and won against 7 yokai. Maybe Yushin's wish, to awaken as a guardian, was closer than expected. The first ever energy cultivation was forcibly achieved by Yushin. Right after that, Saiwa was in a state where something sprouted inside him without even his knowledge. What was lacking was just a fleeting moment. If he had taken one more step in that moment, the sprouted leaf would have instantly bloomed. But it didn't happen. And as a result of the ensuing fierce battle, the moment the mask Yushin had put on him broke, the suppressed evil within the boy awoke. Yokai power and righteous energy. Though these two energies coexist in the blessed constitution of a half yokai, they never cohabit. The initial exposure to righteous energy was due to the tricolored gourd given to him by Yushin. Thanks to the repeated consumption of the demonic elixir, the yokai power beads were terribly damaged. Today's event, too, was because the mask suppressed the yokai power combined with the energy cultivation technique that Yushin taught. I don't know exactly what happened inside me, but I can understand it vaguely. I told Solmi and the others that it was okay. But the aftereffects of the injuries from the overuse of the demonic pill haven't fully healed yet. I can use yokai power, but compared to usual, it felt awkward and unnatural. Most of all, whenever I used yokai power, there was a cutting pain in my lower abdomen. And until this morning, there was no significant progress in my condition. But the moment the mask broke during the fight with Yoshihiro, the pain and discomfort from the yokai power beads completely disappeared. Surely, my body healed itself, but it was different from ordinary regeneration. It was a kind of counteraction. The activation of yokai power to suppress the righteous energy, no, it was the activation of righteous energy to suppress yokai power. Like a competition between living creatures. The reason I could squeeze out strength when fighting the Dragon Palace's princess was, despite my mindset, it was probably because the yokai power was much more activated than usual. But instead, it became more difficult to handle righteous energy. I can definitely feel it inside my body, but it's uncomfortable to move, like something that's almost within the reach of my fingertips but not quite easy to obtain. Surely, this is the result of the grown yokai energy suppressing the righteous energy. Ultimately, it's an obvious advantage, thought Saiwu. Compared to the yokai abilities, the righteous energy had limited means of use. Even if the righteous energy was sealed as a price for the increased yokai energy, it wasn't something to regret. A faint sense of unease about choosing a path from which there's no return was never a significant issue. Yushin. Here, take this. From your reaction, you forgot, huh? You asked Lady Gu about this earlier. This is a VVIP pass for Yangweidang. With this, you can summon a merchant from Yangweidang even here to buy items. Of course, he mentioned using it at the preliminary arena, but if it worked there, I think it should work here too. But what's in this box? It contains yokai coins. It's currency among yokai. I happen to have some from a previous incident. If summoning someone from Yangweidang is possible, then informing them about the presence of the dark spirits here and using the yokai coins to buy things you need would be good. Like medicine for wounds or energy recovery, and they sell many useful tools too. Wait, but where are you going? Let's call it a stroll and patrol. I plan to look around our room without getting caught. Even though we were advised to stay inside until tomorrow. There are many participants who share the same purpose, not just Mr. Goyu and Solmi. I'm not sure about Xiaohui yet, but I believe Yoshiro and Yuzuru will actively help. But if you run into dark spirits, it's okay. If my senses and memory are correct, I also felt some of the ominousness of dark spirits that Mr. Goyu mentioned. I'll go quietly without any trouble. Don't worry. Tap. Sigh. It's dizzying. I can't keep up with everything that's happening. What should I have done? It's like being trapped in an inevitable deadlock without even realizing it. All I can do for him is, just watch over him. Is that all? Summon. Huh. I was told the one who took the yokai talisman was a half-goblin, but you look like a human no matter how I see it. Who are you? Why are you using that yokai talisman? Did you steal it? Yushin was momentarily speechless because he was overwhelmed. Hey, stop thinking and speak up quickly. But it wasn't just because the man who appeared was strong. Yushin is an experienced, talented warrior. Even when facing a yokai with overwhelming power, he could stand tall without his spirit breaking. But this man is different. I'm also an honorary merchant of Yangweidang, so I must sternly punish thieves. The powerful aura he felt from the man was undoubtedly human, but at the same time, it was beyond the level that could be felt from a human. This yokai talisman belongs to my friend Choi Saiwoo, and I've borrowed it temporarily. It's impossible to prove immediately, but once he returns, proving it will be possible. Even if you don't believe me, I can't do anything about it. My name is Kim Yushin. A former warrior of the Bureau of Sacred Waters, and the child of Kim Seo-hyun, who was a man-god in this generation. Greetings to the senior who has attained the realm of an immortal, transcending the fetters and karma of the human world. If it's not too much trouble, may I ask your esteemed name? You're saying you're Kim Seo-hyun's son? Well, I came here to play a game of Go with the Grandmaster after a long time, and I took on the errand of checking out the half-goblin. Hey, get up. I don't like overreacting. I tried to suppress my energy with a mask, but you saw through it. You've got a sharp sense, just what I'd expect from Kim Seo-hyun's son. This is, suppressed energy through a sacred tool. So, who do you think I am? Excuse me? There aren't that many immortals on the Korean peninsula. Among them, who would be a great, dignified figure that a kid like you could instantly recognize as an immortal? In this nonsensical situation, possibly risking his life, Yushin's brain squeezed out its maximum output. And finally reached the thought of the greatest genius in the history of Korean warriors. That's right. The miracle born in Joseon. No, the greatest genius born on the Korean peninsula in 5,000 years since Dangun. That's me, John Woo-chi. Yushin thought he was doomed. There is an extremely rare chance for this event to occur. When talent, experience, will, and effort all miraculously align like the gears of a machine, the impossible becomes reality. And at that moment, humans are finally reborn as immortal, Shinzian. All the cells in their body cease to age, and they regain the vitality of their prime. However, the rejuvenation of the flesh is only a tiny part of the change that occurs. The energy center, Danjian, of the one who has reached the realm of immortals erases the boundary between the inside and outside, allowing them to use the energy of heaven and earth as their own Jianggi. Literally, the unity of self and nature. They leave the realm of a mere living being and become something that can be considered a part of the world with self-consciousness. That's why, at the moment they awaken as an immortal, paradoxically, they become residents of the Sanji, the immortal realm, and their activities in the human world become restricted. From the perspective of an ordinary human, they are surreal beings, much farther away than even a yokai. An immortal, out of nowhere. I've never even heard of anyone actually seeing one. Though it seems like he knows my father. Well, anyway, even if it's a bit surprising, at least other immortals aren't a threat. But why, of all people, this guy? And no. Absolutely not. The truth is that this is just such an unexpected situation that it hasn't fully sunk in yet. Look at this guy. I was thinking you didn't seem like Kim Seohyun's son. But judging by your reaction and expression, you're just like your father. Well, I'll believe you. So, what were you trying to buy? I said I'm here as a stand-in for the head of Yangwaydang, so I'll do the merchant's job properly. In the meantime, it would be good if your friend, that half-goblin, returns. Well. I was going to use the talisman from Yangwaydang to ask the head of the place to deliver news about the situation here to the outside world. Of course, I know that Yangwaydang maintains complete neutrality in any conflicts between the human and yokai realms, but even so, the appearance of dark spirits has been considered a common disaster since ancient times, so I thought that requesting just the delivery of information wouldn't be too much. What did you just say? Dark spirits. That's not just some minor statement, it's pretty shocking, to say the least. But he's not even flinching while hearing this. So to an immortal, matters of the lower world are simply trivial, huh? Are you serious? Then, aren't you guys really screwed? Why yes. No. No matter how you look at it, you guys are royally screwed, isn't it? You said there are 2 dark spirits here. Back in the year of Byongo, when I was still active, I had to chase one that fled from the Ming dynasty. It was such a hassle working with Wadam to catch it. What will you do? The world has always been a mess, but this is on another level. I'm suddenly very glad that I'm an immortal. What the hell is this guy? For now, honestly, I have no idea what I should do, but I'll do whatever comes to my mind. Well, that's all you can say. I hate to say it, but frankly, you don't look capable of handling this. You're not entirely useless, but you're not particularly exceptional either. Well, if I were to lend a hand, it would be a different story. Will you really help me? If so, then absolutely not. If you're a guardian, then you should know about the prohibition on the leakage of heavenly secrets. People like me, an immortal, can't interfere in the affairs of ordinary humans or yokai like you. Not only is directly helping someone prohibited, but even sharing influential information is restricted. A mistake could cause something far worse than those dark spirits could do to engulf this world. That's why immortals who have a reason to come down to the mortal world each have what is called a gaemyeong, false life, an alias. My gaemyeong, as I said, is the head of Yangwaydang. All the conversations we've had, and all the actions I'm going to take are entirely confined within the limits of being a door-to-door salesman. Well, I can pass on a message to the outside, though. If you get it, stop thinking you can get something for nothing by using my strength. Just tell me what you want already, customer. Rules of the immortals, blah blah. If you're just going to spout some nonsense that everyone already knows, don't get my hopes up from the start. Are you trying to mess with me? Let me just buy the stuff. So, have you decided what you want to buy? If you haven't made up your mind, I can show you the items. There's a lot of good stuff here. No. I've decided what I want to buy, but I wanted to check if it's something you sell, senior. And if possible, I'd like to know if I can buy it with the money I have. I heard that the heads of Yangwaydang don't just deal in physical goods but also sell the knowledge they possess. So as both a customer and a fellow martial artist, I'd like to purchase some of your teachings, senior. That's it. Well, to approach it in that way, you're pretty sharp, but teachings of an immortal? You can't normally buy that kind of thing at Yangwaydang. But, well, if I think about it differently, the information each head deals with is different. It wouldn't be proper for me to refuse a customer just because I'm an immortal. Alright. This is a first, but if that's what the customer wants. Thank you. Alright. I don't know how much Sai will put in here, but I hope it's enough. Hey now. Why are you so eager to pull out the money first? Of course, I can only teach you as much as the money you have, but, you're not short on money, are you, being the heir of the Bureau of Sacred Waters? I trust you've got plenty, so no need to rush. Pay after you receive the goods. Not that I think this would happen, but if you end up short on money later, you can always write me an IOU. Right? Oh, of course. Good. Now, let's see what I should teach you. Senior, is it possible for someone else to receive the teachings instead of me? What? If not you, then who? Well, my half-goblin friend I mentioned earlier, who stepped out for a moment. You'll probably figure it out right away, senior, but despite having yokai blood, he has exceptional talent as a guardian. He also has great character and personality. Damn it, you! I thought you were sharp, but this isn't gonna work, is it? What's with this? Your friend is more talented than you, so I should just teach him instead. Is that something a martial artist should say? I can tell what your mindset is just from this. You think that's the right thing to do for your friend, don't you? No doubt that half yokai, with his great character, chose the path of the yokai instead of that of a guardian. Well, it's a wise choice. In this era, who has time to cultivate and build power? But even so, pushing the opportunity you got onto him and trying to force him onto the human path. Get it together. That's not for your friend's sake, and it's not wise in the long run. Anyway, you're not ready. It's not just about teaching you a few spells, you need a complete overhaul of your basic mindset. A proper guardian must have an altruistic heart while putting faith in themselves above all else. Think of this as reaping the benefits of the karma you've accumulated in a past life. You're the first human in hundreds of years to learn my heavenly deception secret arts. Phew. No wonder there were no guards or watchers around, so that's what it is. There's a barrier of yokai energy around this building, preventing anyone from leaving. I might be able to force my way out, but that would trigger an alarm. I can only move around quietly within this building. From what I checked earlier, there were court ladies on the first floor assisting us. I haven't checked the third floor yet. For now, I don't sense any unusual energy. Is it because there's no one there, or? Well then, I shall take my leave. There's definitely someone here, but I still can't feel any presence. Peeking inside is obviously impossible. What should I do? Just knock politely. Huh. I suppose I'll assume you're not here to spy. If that were your intention, there's no way you'd approach so clumsily without even hiding your presence. So, did you come alone? Sorry. I didn't know that you were resting. No, I thought you might be resting, but I'm the one who allowed you to enter. If I hadn't, then you wouldn't even be able to look at me with that pathetic face. It would be best if you only answer my questions. That person didn't come with you? That friend? For a moment, a very familiar sensation flashed through Saiwa's mind. Saiwu. Choi Saiwu. Oh, don't you remember me? I'm Eugene from the second year. I was in a club with Yushin. We saw each other once before, remember? Which club was it again? Yushin barely attended more than 2 or 3 times in the first semester. It seems Yushin hasn't been coming to school lately. You two are close, right? Is something going on? It's probably because of a family event. Around this time, they always go down for about 10 days because of ancestral rites. Ancestral rites. I see, then by next Friday, yeah, he'll probably be back by Wednesday. Thanks. But next Friday, it's because it's Yushin's birthday. I don't know how she knows, but Yushin actually celebrates his birthday by the lunar calendar. But I guess it's better not to tell her. Yushin doesn't like other people talking about his personal matters. That's a breach of privacy. By the way, since starting my high school, this is already the 6th person. And it's not even halfway through the first semester yet. Having been friends with him for about 4 years, Saiwu had experienced this countless times. Of course, he thought it was utterly ridiculous, but the boy's sharp instinct told him, after sensing a gap in the opponent. This is a chance. He's currently resting due to an injury. So, I've come to greet you on Yushin's behalf. You've come to greet me on his behalf. Does that person have any business with me? Even though you fought, it wasn't because of some grudge, but a fair competition under the tournament's conditions, right? Although he might have gone overboard at the end, but you were generous enough to let Yushin win. Yushin said something like this. Don't even get me started, her strength is just ridiculous. She was the strongest and most imposing opponent I've ever faced, Saiwu. And thanks to her, I was able to reach a new level and grow. Of course, he's a bit prideful and shy, so he didn't directly express his desire to see you, but later, after the tournament ended, he hinted that he'd like to meet you separately. Forgive me, Yushin. If I don't approach her like this, I won't have another chance to get closer to her. Well, knowing his personality, he won't come to you first. If it's okay with you, Miss Xiaoyi, I could bring him along. I know that's not the main reason you came to see me. Well, if you want me to hear the main point, I suppose this approach wouldn't work. I'm doomed. The food served for dinner wasn't bad. However, it seems that the underwater folks lack the skill to brew good liquor. This is liquor made from the fruits of MANHWA. It's not fine wine, as it's only been aged for 50 years. But since this isn't a night for getting drunk, this should be sufficient. Sit down. Let's have a drink and talk about that person named Kim Yushin. No, let's talk about your reason for coming here. Choi Siwoo successfully made Shall We Let Her guard down. It's not a bad view, right? If you keep looking at it, it might get a bit boring, but it's perfect for coming here occasionally to fish and relax. Is this the place where the immortals reside? No way. I don't know what you imagine about that place, but it doesn't even compare to this. This is a space I personally created. It may seem a bit crude compared to reality, but it's pretty convenient for manipulating various things as I please. You created this place. The blowing wind, the taste of the air, the smell of the water, and the abundant natural energy, this is on a different level from some half-hearted illusion or virtual space created by spells. This is a real world. I've only heard about the immortals, but I never thought they could do something this incredible. Now, you have to choose an option. The teachings that I'm going to sell are already decided. What matters now is how you understand and internalize them. Of course, there's no way I'd teach you incorrectly. If the results are disappointing, it's entirely your responsibility. But even so, spending just one night might be too harsh. Don't be shocked. I told you. I can manipulate various things at my discretion. The flow of time here. I can control it and make it pass faster or slower relative to the real world. I just changed it from day to night. If time actually sped up or slowed down, you wouldn't even be able to notice it. At least until you leave from here. Of course, even if time flows faster than in reality, for you, it'll just be like a joke. If 1 minute here equals an hour out there, you'd only have about 12 minutes left. So, I was thinking of making time flow slower. Then 1 hour outside would become, roughly a month in here. You'd have about a year remaining here by tomorrow morning. But, of course, you'd lose that much of your life in return. That's only natural. If you do that for me, I'd gladly accept it. Oh, listen to the whole thing before you agree. Just experiencing the slower passage of time here would overburden a normal human body. For every month you spend here, your lifespan will be shortened by about a year. So if you stay here for a year, you'd lose about 12 years of your life. Though this 1 month being equal to 1 year is just an estimate, you might lose even more. At least, you won't age, you'll just have fewer days to live. Losing a year for 12 months, even I think that's a bit expensive. How much can you grow in just 1 year, after all? I could slow time down a bit less. Then the cost would be, no. That's more than enough. Wow, the young ones sure are fearless. You are ready to burn over 10 years of your lifespan without a second thought. Or are you just that confident? That's not it. Honestly, I'm scared of how much of my lifespan I'm sacrificing. And I'm not even sure if it'll be worth it. But, didn't you say it, senior? Don't just dabble, take full control. By that logic, the one I have to lead is a truly ridiculous burden. If I'm going to grab the scruff of the neck of some fool who wants to become the Demon King in 6 months, I guess I have to do at least that much too. So how about closing your eyes and pushing yourself hard for just 1 year? What the heck are you saying? Can't you see I'm already pushing myself hard enough? Talking to me and then attacking me, what do you think it is? It's combat practice. You think I'm the only one who talks and then strikes? Anyone who fights with restrictions or conditions is one of two things. Either they use it against you to stab you in the back, or they're an idiot. That aside, what was that thing you did just now? Did someone else teach you martial arts? That move you made before you kicked my face. The one where you redirected the blade. Ah. I thought you meant something else. I recently read a manga where a similar technique was used. Though the way the author explained the technique was completely nonsensical. I thought if I slightly adapted the demon-resisting advanced stance I could achieve a similar effect, so I just tried a few things on my own. You came up with that on your own. Oh, here you go again. Stop putting so much meaning into things that don't matter. Honestly, it only worked because this is just a practice sparring match. In real combat, it'd only work if the opponent is a total pushover. Well, enough. I already know what you're going to say. You'll say it's all about effort and talent. Just put in a bit more work. Who wouldn't want to hear that? I have no desire to climb any higher. Back then, when I laughed off at what you said, it wasn't just because I was going through some rebellious phase. It's because I've never genuinely believed that I had some kind of shining talent. I was given special treatment simply because I was that guy's son, and anyone else in my position would have stood out more than others. But for sure, that quick thinking I had earlier, it worked well enough even on that monstrous being. If Uncle was right, and I did have something special that I've been wasting. This might be my last chance. Finally, even though it's way too late. I've found something I want to do, now that I've gained some power. And now that I have a chance to cram everything in. I don't mind trading away a dozen or so years. I will remember and engrave every moment of the teachings you give me over this year. Look at those eyes, they've gotten serious. There's a bit of forced bravado, but it's definitely better than before. Honestly, if you had given me a half-hearted answer, I was thinking of quietly changing my mind. It seemed like it would be troublesome. But well, you dodged and weaved your way out of it until the very end. You've seen the subdued demon drift before, haven't you? Even in times like these, you kids need some real combat experience. What's inside here are the demons I defeated in my younger days. All 108 of them are high-ranking spirit-class yokai, so they'll be enough to keep you busy for a year. There's plenty of time. I prefer teaching through practical experience rather than theory. Now then, show me what you got. I see. 2 dark spirits, they've colluded with some faction within the Dragon Palace to infiltrate this martial arts competition. I understand now. That reason is strong enough for you to visit me, even at the risk of being rude. Did you already know about it by any chance? Let me ask you something. What do you think of the place known as the Dragon Palace? I know that you have human blood mixed in you and that you're closer to that side. I'm asking for your impression from that perspective. Well, I don't think it's that bad of a place. There was one rather odd incident, but other than that, it feels calm and sensible, but that's just my impression. You're right. In fact, when it comes to the East, they even went against nature to some extent to side with the humans. There were dragon kings who controlled the weather or granted bountiful harvests. Indeed, in the old stories that I heard as a child, the Dragon Palace was mostly depicted as a good place. For the humans of this era, it could be said to be even more so. The fact that the current Demon King could create laws for humans was largely due to the support of the Eastern Sea Dragon Palace. That's not a widely known story. As I said, the Sea Clan, fundamentally, they are incredibly friendly towards humans. But the internal affairs and political dynamics of the Dragon Palace are not something that outsiders can precisely know. However, no matter how friendly the Dragon Palace may be to humans, the condition of never laying hands on humans is a separate issue. The reason it could apply to the sea as well was because the strongest of the Dragon Kings took the lead in participating. I don't know why there was such a need. But what is certain is that the Eastern Sea Dragon King staked his position and sided with the Demon King. Thanks to that, the sea naturally became something that belonged to humans. Strictly speaking, it created a space that was somewhat free from the Demon King's influence, a space where the laws don't necessarily have to be followed. And yet, you betrayed that choice. Pardon? Betrayal, what do you mean by that? If you're asking that even after knowing, then you deserve to die 100 times over. Judging by your dumbfounded expression, you haven't even considered it. How clean do you think the sea was 666 years ago compared to now? You're even aware of how severe it is, yet you naturally turn a blind eye. See? Any human with half a brain would know that you humans are ungrateful children to the cradle that is the sea. Of course, the sea isn't the only thing you've treated that way. In that regard, you're fair to all of nature on this earth. But the sea is completely different from any other place. Do you know why? Well, first of all, the people who live in the sea, they were kind to humans, because they had that much respect and pride in the sea, right? Even if they left humans alone, they wouldn't have thought that humans could do anything to the sea. Yes, no one would have known. So, it's hard to say the Dragon King's decision was reckless, but it seems the other members of the Dragon Palace think differently. Most of the powerful ministers of the Eastern Sea Dragon Palace harbor dissatisfaction with the Dragon King, except for those who follow his will as if it were their own lives. After all, they endured and upheld the laws for 666 years, laws they could have abandoned at any time. However, despite that, the reason there hasn't been a rebellion is because the power hierarchy is clear. The current Eastern Sea Dragon King is one of the strongest among all the Dragon Kings in history. No matter how much those harboring discontent unite, they aren't a match for him. So they're discussing rebellion, going so far as to summon the disaster known as Dark Spirit. But What are you doing? Pardon? What do you mean? I'm talking about the drink in front of you. It seems like it hasn't been emptied even once. You've got quite the nerve. Refusing the drink I personally poured, right in front of me. No. No. That's not it. It's just, I'm only 17 years old, so I'm not allowed to drink alcohol, and I don't know how to drink. You're using age as an excuse. Listen carefully. When an adult offers you a drink, you just drink it quietly. Ugh. Saiwu thought that there was no room for argument. However, his drinking experience could be counted on one hand. I knew it wasn't a good idea, but the problem was that all of his few experiences weren't particularly pleasant. There's a very limited range of alcohol types and strengths that he can drink without suffering. It looks extremely strong. I can smell the alcohol just by having it in front of me. The aroma seems decent. I guess. Cheers. See, cheers. At that moment, what happened inside Saiwa's body wasn't just because of the drink that Xiaowei handed him. Earlier, he had taken 7 yokai power beads. And with all nutritious meals, the process of digesting another yokai's power beads is extremely slow. And even now, the 7 beads of the chi grade had yet to dissolve. But what was added was heavenly peach wine. Among the countless elixirs that grow on Mount Huagua, it's a wine made from peaches, known as one of the best. Though it was still considered a lower-grade wine. It was more than enough to act as the perfect catalyst, the best digestive aid that the boy needed. As expected, it looks like you've swallowed a lot of things you can't even properly digest. I figured it would be like that from the first time I saw you. The spiritual energy I felt from you is quite strong, yet your appearance was so shabby that it was painful to look at. But still, I didn't expect you'd react this quickly. I assume it's because of the spiritual energy orbs of the enemies you defeated. Did you eat anything else? What? No, I didn't, but... Without even knowing it yourself, they say you're a guest of honor, but did the royal physicians of the Dragon Palace use such a precious medicine on you? Or... did someone else extend their favor to you? Whatever it is, it seems this guy is quite lucky. The drink I had, does it have some kind of amazing effect? I've had some kind of medicine before, but this feels different. I think I've gotten healthier. Before, it felt like I was energized after drinking an energy drink or coffee. But now it feels like I've eaten a full meal and had a good night's sleep. Thank you so much. With this, I think I can give my all in the competition without any problems. You're overestimating it. As I said, it's just a drink that's decent enough to drink. If you had really drunk the heavenly peach wine of Huagua Mountain, just saying thanks wouldn't even begin to pay the price. But, of course, even this drink is a rare delicacy that most people would never get to taste in their lifetime. You should be preparing yourself as much as possible for the bloodbath that awaits tomorrow. Even if you give it your all, it's highly likely that the outcome won't change at all. And consider it my way of making up for the mistake I made during our first meeting a week ago. Ah. Well, at that time, if you think about it, I also unnecessarily got involved in the fight that just ended. So we're even, I suppose. Anyway, I'm glad to see your recovery is faster than we expected. We have more time now than I thought. The dizziness is gone. I'm not really feeling sleepy, but it seems like I can't do anything else, so I'll try to get some rest. Don't be ridiculous. You're staying with me until morning. Phew, that was a tougher experience than I expected. Well, of course, it's 1,000 times better than just sitting around doing nothing, but it's more mentally exhausting than physically. Yushin. You're awake. Look at me. Looks like I won't need to cut my hair for a while. Huh? What's with that look? Why do you have a military-style haircut? Trying to make sense of this situation, calculating all the possible variables. Understood. What did you do to my friend? Drop the lousy disguise and reveal yourself. Are you serious right now? It's me, really. What, do you need proof or something? Your name is Choi Saiwoo. Your birthday is November 21st, you live with your mom, and your favorite food is japchae, right? The names of the girls you liked since middle school are, in order, Oh Yeren, Jin Xianmi, and Song Ariam. Your rank is master, and you always brag about it, but you're really a coward who only plays with the cheap, overpowered characters that come with every patch. What, am I wrong? Do you want me to keep throwing more personal facts at you for hours? However, it's a bit unfair to call someone out for winning with better game mechanics when they're better than you at gaming. I say this every time, but unless you've proven yourself otherwise, you only reached gold once, and claiming you can't climb higher because you're a one-trick pony is a bit lame. But still, I'm glad it's really you. I don't know what happened, but, seeing it again, your hair does look cool, and it seems like you've bulked up a bit. So the change is more than just on the outside. Just wait and see, I'll show you my improved performance. Or maybe not. It's not like it looks bad or anything, but, you should tie your hair up, Yushin. There's someone else with a similar, but better look. Right, I remember now. This guy always had a knack for getting on people's nerves. I'd forgotten since it's been a year. So, you're both awake. I hope you both had a restful night. The banquet will start soon. I'm here to guide you both to the banquet hall where the main event will take place. If you're feeling unwell or wish to withdraw, no, there's no problem at all. Yang Regarding the items that have arrived this time, as you all know, they're not only rare but also huge in number. Since there are also elixirs that will be used at the upcoming banquet for the immortals, storing items properly according to their types is crucial. Mistakes will not be tolerated, so everyone, stay sharp and thoroughly manage the items you've been assigned to. Yes, manager. Hey, don't create such a tense atmosphere. So, what if some food ingredients get spoiled? If you die from eating something spoiled, can you even call yourself an immortal? Oh, Elder. Long time no see, Red Lotus. I heard from the chief that you arrived last night. I wanted to greet you, but you couldn't find me because I disappeared somewhere, right? I went on a door-to-door sales visit last night to someone with noble blood. Actually, I went to see the famous half-goblin, but that guy didn't show up even though I waited all night. Still, I adjusted with what I had, scooped out every last drop, and ate it up clean. Just like with games, raising something from lower levels is the most fun. Seeing the stats shoot up so easily, it's incredibly addictive. But where is Muriong? We were supposed to have lunch together, but he wasn't in his room. Ah, the chief manager is in the guest house with a guest. I know. It's obvious. Some guy just barges in without any prior appointment and expects to be treated as an honored guest. There's no way a guy like that has any good intentions. He's probably here to mooch something off of us. Still, I'm acting as the manager here, so if some piece of trash like that shows up, it's my responsibility to take care of it, right? Where's that stench coming from? Hyung, what, Muriong, you were here. Hey, if you bring something stinky into the room, at least ventilate it. I just came in, and it feels like my nose is rotting. The view is nice. It's important to ventilate, don't you think? Right? Especially when it smells this wait. Isn't this, old man Choi? If you were going to come, you should have said so. At least I could have lit some good incense for you beforehand. But anyway, what brings you here? You don't think much of the kids here, do you? You always say it's laughable how they try to pretend to be human. Yet you dutifully accept their tributes and quietly enjoy being treated with respect. It's kind of funny. Have a seat. Since you're part of Yangweidang, you need to hear this. I don't want to. Not that I don't want to listen to you, it's just that I don't want to share a table. It's not like not sitting face to face will make me deaf, right? As you know, due to the recent incident, the Bureau of Sacred Waters suffered near catastrophic damages. Though it is against heavenly law for us to intervene in the mortal world, we cannot just stand by with only 6 months left until the Yokai Festival. This is a calamity we cannot ignore. At this rate, in 6 months, the Korean peninsula will become a hell without any safety net. To fill the void left by the Bureau of Sacred Waters, we must act swiftly. So, as I asked just now, it's all well and good that you're so determined, but how do you plan to fill in that void? We will revive the Order of Flower Knights, Warangdo. Including you and me, the immortals from the Korean peninsula will select children with appropriate potential and take them in as disciples. Then, these children, who inherit our will and techniques, will take responsibility and protect the future of the Korean peninsula. Not as a ragtag bunch that has deteriorated over centuries like the Bureau of Sacred Waters, but as true warriors, like those who once existed on this land. That's why I'm here today. To secure supplies for the founding of the new Order of Flower Knights. We need Yangweidang to provide the elixirs and weapons to raise the children who will carry our will. Of course, there will be due compensation for that. The half-yokai here will no longer be despised under the name of the new Flower Knights. And if any of them are talented enough, they could even become full-fledged members of the Flower Knights, our disciples. Duty as an immortal. Filling the void of the Bureau of Sacred Waters. When you heard that the Bureau of Sacred Waters was wiped out, weren't you thrilled? It's been your lifelong dream for 1,000 years since you were human. Okay, I'd respect it if you purely just wanted to teach the kids. But will you really leave those kids alone after raising them? Of course not. They're not disciples, they're pawns. Isn't that how the Korean peninsula will fall into your hands in an instant? Under the control of the so-called immortals, who are supposedly driven by nothing but noble purposes. So, what's the problem with that? Even the supreme deity has given special permission for this. He must have agreed that humans in the lower world need to be under better governance. This should have happened hundreds of years ago. It's laughable that due to the audacity of the whims of an overreaching yokai, mortals have enjoyed 666 years of excessive freedom and indulgence. You're a product of that era of freedom and indulgence, so I understand your resentment. But at least have the awareness that you're an immortal, a being above others. If you can't agree, just watch silently with your ignorant eyes. In 6 months, the Korean peninsula will become the greatest paradise on earth. Okay, fine, I got it. It seems my patience has reached its limit, so let's settle this outside, you filthy old man. Pure Harmony Hall, Banquet Hall of the East Sea Dragon Palace. I greet the esteemed guests present here. Were you satisfied with the meal at the morning banquet? My name is Soden. To enhance the excitement of the martial arts competition that will begin soon, I have been tasked with the role of commentary and hosting. Though I am merely a humble servant to the princess. But with a bit of eloquence and some knowledge in martial arts, I have humbly taken on this responsibility. However, since you esteemed guests are likely not interested in this part, let's get straight to it. The first match of the finals will begin. First, I will introduce a group that is an exceptional combination, even among the most formidable participants in this martial arts competition. The noble of fierce combat from the Korean peninsula, and the descendant of the goblins who have reappeared after centuries. Choi Si-woo and Kim Yu-shin. I didn't expect to see her again smiling like this. Anyway, the person next to her, he really is the Dragon King after all. At that time, my mind was completely gone, so I attacked him without thinking. Now that I think about it, didn't I make a huge mistake? Now, the opponents they will face. They are a clan whose name and legacy are by no means inferior to the goblins. They were the only group to reach the end of the preliminaries without a single loss or forfeit. And now. Even so, since this is the finals, I thought they would gather all the participants in one place so we could at least recognize each other. I just hope that our matchups are favorable. The invincible duo. The brother and sister, Murik and Gajin. Without even needing to exchange any opinions, we both realize it almost simultaneously. They are not dark spirits. But they are strong. Seriously, did you really have to bring food all the way here? I thought I ate too much at breakfast. I couldn't help it. The meals were lacking, so I had to compensate for it with quantity. Even though they tried to treat us with decently good materials, tools like weapons or iron only taste good after being used a lot. No matter how good a new item is, if it hasn't even been used once by its owner. Hey, sis. That tall guy over there. Can I take him on? Do as you please. You wouldn't listen to me even if I said no. The basic rules for the finals are the same as those for the preliminaries. A victory is determined if the opponent is rendered unable to fight or expresses a desire to forfeit. However, unlike the preliminaries, the 4 members of each group will fight simultaneously in the finals. Of course, the match ends only when both members of a team are unable to fight. In the case of a forfeit, if even one of the 2 members declares it, the loss is acknowledged. And stepping outside the arena, out of bounds, will also be judged as a defeat. So, the first match of the finals begins now. I was wondering what they meant by out of bounds, so this is what they were talking about. The arena is definitely huge. It's several times larger than the one we used for the preliminaries. So, what's the plan? You probably sensed it too, but these 2 are on a completely different level compared to the yokai you easily crushed in the preliminaries. Both of them are at least at the spirit level. The particularly dangerous one is that woman. If it were yesterday, there's a high chance we would have lost, even if we both took her on together. But now, I'm on a different level than I was yesterday. I can handle it easily on my own. Hey! This isn't a one-on-one match, it's a team game.